A couple of Canadian icons are taking on Spotify. So Joni Mitchell is now joining Neil Young, asking the streaming service to take down her music in protest of a very popular but very controversial podcast they believe is endangering lives.
Two artists from the 60s who made their bones protesting the injustices and sticking to their principles have teamed up yet again.
Reading the news and it's all bad. They won't give peace a chance. That was just a dream.
Legendary folk singer Joni Mitchell is the latest musician to sever ties with Spotify over concerns the streaming service is spreading COVID misinformation on its most popular podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. On her website, Joni writes, "Irresponsible people are spreading lies that are costing people their lives. I stand in solidarity with Neil Young and the global scientific and medical communities on this issue."
We have to understand both of them are survivors of polio. This is personal to them, right? This has to do with their health and safety. And the fact that during their period, their era, there were similar anti-vax movements that were going on, and they saw firsthand the impact of this disinformation anti-vax movements.
Sabina Vora-Miller is one of hundreds of medical experts who signed an open letter to Spotify a couple of weeks ago, voicing concerns over a particular episode where Joe Rogan interviewed a doctor known for wild conspiracy theories who had already been banned from Twitter.
Freedom of speech is absolutely important, but at some point when the speech is actually spreading misinformation, information that we know is completely inaccurate, there has to be responsibility from the platforms to make sure that this kind of misinformation is not being spread.
On Monday, Canadian rocker Neil Young gave Spotify the ultimatum to either pull down the podcast or take down his music. The streaming service responded in a statement saying, "We regretted Young's decision, but hope to welcome him back soon."
The problem, though, is that Joe Rogan is Spotify's $100 million man. He is exclusive to Spotify, which is why they paid him so much money. You can't get his podcast in full anywhere else other than Spotify. And their biggest podcast is Joe Rogan, 11 to 14 million downloads per episode. That brings in an awful lot of revenue. They've hitched their wagon to him.
Now, Spotify says it has detailed policies in place and has removed over 20,000 podcast episodes related to COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. But some say this latest saga clearly shows a double standard.
We're at a time when we just simply do not have the luxury of having big platforms support misinformation. And, it really comes down to the fact that there's a lot of false balance that's occurring. And I think that it's in public interest to make sure that the information that is being spread is accurate, correct, and not based on falsies.
Shauna Hunt, City News.